Welcome to the Parent Advocacy resource team for all ages and stages of parenthood. I'm Irene Gouge, founder of Loving Lessons Lead Consulting, and your host here at PART, where we partner with parents to create a trusting network of professional services to provide families with proactive options as they navigate the journey of being a family through education, advocacy, empowerment, and connection. So we are going to get going meeting our new guest today, and I'm super excited to introduce Carmen Cox from Cherished Legacies. One of the things that we talk about is like the things we never thought we would say as a parent. And one of the things that Carmen mentioned is, I know you're able to make the best decision for yourself and you will learn from it. And it sounds like some wisdom she was sharing. So I'd like to introduce Carmen, who helps families tell and preserve and share their stories for future generations to enjoy. She helps digitize old media, make things secure and private, and offers shareable storage that you don't have to rent, and also offers photo restoration, genealogy research, legacy books and movies, and many print products. Sounds like a lot of amazing things. So Carmen, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks.
So tell me a little bit about, you never thought you'd be saying, I know you're able to make the best decision for yourself and you'll learn from it.
I think that, we always say, I'm never going to do that when I have kids. And I think I thought I would be more authoritative, and I've learned that I want to empower my children to make decisions, because when they entering adulthood, it's very important for them to have the confidence to make their own decisions. And so as often as possible, I have given them choices that they can. I homeschooled, so they had choices in what classes they took, what curriculum they used. We had choices all the time. As often as possible, I always say that enable them to choose what they're going to do. And it's okay if they make a choice that I wouldn't have made, they're going to learn from it. And so they can make a better choice the next time. So as long as it's not going to be something to endanger them or be something that's going to permanently be a bad choice, then I pretty much let them make those choices. So
yeah, that sounds like a very wisdom to share with our children. And sometimes we never thought we would do that. I know for myself, sometimes I'm shocked. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm giving you choices, and that wasn't always the norm for me, at least growing up. So that was
exactly.
That's what is different, I would say, right now in my parenting journey.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that was, it was, I grew up with what a lot of us did. It was, you do it because I told you to do it. And
yeah,
there's no questions.
And that's, and I think that's really important, because I think a lot of everyone who's probably watching this, I would encourage anyone who's watching that is like, yeah, me too. That's not how I grew up. Click like or leave a comment down below. But I think that that's one of those things where we don't realize what we're doing, why we're doing it, what we're saying as parents.
Right.
And so I think it's interesting too, because it sounds like you're trying to change the legacy of what you're doing through the work you're doing. Tell me a little bit about Cherished Legacies and how you got started with this.
So I would say the core of it is, for me, is I'm passionate about people telling stories, and sometimes the stories aren't all happy, positive stories, but we can learn from those stories. And the studies have shown that a lot of the studies have been on children, but it's for adults also. They're the children that families have shared stories and passed down stories, even if they're not positive stories, are more connected, are more resilient, have better mental health. And I think in this country right now, mental health is a huge, huge issue for our children. And the simple thing of just telling your story, telling your family story, passing down your stories. So all the things I do encompass that, is how easy ways to pass down family stories, not just for now, but for generations to come. And how does that look like? So I have lots of different ways that we can do that. So
yeah. So I love what you were saying about stories, because I think that is really impactful. And I know as a sleep coach, like I think storytelling is a great way to end your night. And kids really love that. They like to even hear about themselves, but then they're learning about their family. But I think it's interesting because I was looking at your website. Tell me a little bit about the products that you share, like, because it's not just storytelling. You have a way to make it come to life.
right. So some of the products for that is I do a legacy video, and this is like a story of their life. And the ones I've done different ones to focus on different things, and they can include photos of them throughout their life. They can, if they don't have photos, I do research and find things from the history to put in there. I do interviews with people, all those things to make a legacy movie, or it could be in book form, a legacy book. And then another great project I just did that I loved is a woman, her mother-in-law passed away in January and left old recipes, and she was a cook. So her family story, her whole thing was she was the one in the family that cooked. So we scanned in all the recipe cards and made a recipe book for the family. And like they probably have gotten 25 copies now. So everybody in the family has all of her best recipes. I wouldn't say all because she had a lot, but her best recipes and a little bit about her in the book.
So Carmen, as you're talking about it, it makes me think like there's like different companies out there. We'll say, we won't name them, but there's different companies that do photo books and things like that. Like, how are you the same or different as that? Like, what would that look like?
Right. So some of the things are the same, so or similar in that I do have print products. So behind me, this is all things that I've printed, and they are all the places that I've been. So these are photos that I've taken that I've been. So they tell a story. They tell my story of places I've been, right? So that's just one way. And there are other companies that do that. But I would say the biggest difference, so I think we're alike in that I do have print products that you can find on other things. But I would say the biggest difference is you get me, and that I really work to personalize and help and consult people on what they need and how best to tell their story, and or if it's even if it's a simple invitation or something, I can personally customize that in a way that can't be done on other other platforms are basically templates that you drop. You can't really change it, but I can personally fully customize anything like that for people. So I would say that was a difference. So I think there are some similarities and there's differences though.
It was interesting. I was watching your little video clip on your website, and I think it's important for people to go to your website. Can you tell us the name?
Yeah, so it's cherished-legacies.com.
Great.
Yeah.
And if you take a peek at the clips that she has there, it's really cool because it's like you make a mini documentary, which was like you were bringing like the photo album to life and telling the story and bringing in some historical pieces. And I was like, wow, like that is something to leave and to be able to go back and reference, for so many generations to come. And sometimes our little ones might not appreciate it, maybe when they're little, but maybe later down the road, they'll want to know and hear those stories. And I think it was really great how you tied that in because there was video and pictures and historical things.
Right. I like to blend all those things together because sometimes people say a picture is worth 1,000 words. 1,000 words. And that's true, but it doesn't always tell the whole story. And so another piece of it is I do have storage, and that's another passion of mine is please don't use Facebook as your storage for your photos. And I get calls all the time, please don't have, please have a backup, please have, and even if it's not me, I want you to have that because it hurts my heart when people call me and say, I wish I had found you earlier. I wish I would have called you earlier because now I've lost everything. But my story, when I was looking for different vendors of where I wanted to, help people put their things, a very important piece to me was just to being able to have unlimited description, because a picture may not tell the whole story. And so, one example I have in my account is I have a picture of my first car, and it's the only picture I have, because we didn't take pictures like we do now. Like, we have that 5,000 of everything. So I have one picture that I found, but my car was stolen when I was in high school out of my yard and used in a crime. So you can't look at that picture and know that story, right? So I put that picture in my account and I wrote the story of what happened to my car. And so now it's forever, attached to that photo. So in future generations, that people will look, and I find that an interesting story that happened. So, I think that's an important piece too, is, putting the story with the photos. And I think it's interesting you said young kids. I think sometimes they don't appreciate it, and even teens. But I think the older we get, the more we appreciate it. And my other thing is, before it's too late, is do it. I think after somebody's passed is when we think of it. And it's so much better. The one you're talking about, to be able to have interview clips of the person talking, is priceless. Yeah. And you can't do that if they've already passed. So,
Yeah, that was interesting, because it was your dad, I think, in the video, and it's like cool because he's being interviewed and like talking, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like his own personal little documentary, and what a great gift for everyone in the family.
Right. And I think, and I did that. I had done some for other people, and I hadn't done it for myself. And I said, I need to do it for myself. My dad turned 80 this year. My mom has some memory issues. And I thought, this is my job. I thought I had already, and so many things have come out of that, of the interviews, that I didn't know. And I thought I knew, because and it's definitely priceless for our family to be able to have that. And I've done it different ways. This one, for my jazz, I chose my son did the voiceover, because it made it personal. So that's a choice. If somebody wants to have, I write the script, and then somebody in the family can do the voiceover, or I have some people that do voiceovers to tell the story. So I've done both ways, but yeah.
So it sounds like it's really a production that you put together for a family, and it becomes this memory. What would you share for, like, I'm thinking about parents that I meet, like they're busy, they're tired, like they're going in all directions. Like, how would they get started?
Right. So if they were parents that wanted to do it, it depends. Like I said, every project's different. So like the I would say the recipe book I just did, that person did I would say, I don't want to say did very little, but I would say didn't take a lot of her time, really. So, it's giving me the recipes to scan, or the person could scan them. So if they don't have time, they just give it to me, and that could be part of the package. I scan it. And basically I put the book together and they proofed it. So it wasn't a lot, that was a project that wasn't a lot of time. And so
you will pull it all together. Like, so just pass it on to you and you'll do all the work.
Exactly. So, and I've recently did a slideshow for a memorial service. And again, we set up a count. She just put up all the photos, told me the music, and that was it. So it's very little time. And I had the choice of, I can conduct. Sometimes it's better for somebody not family to do the interviews, because they'll tell you more. So I can do the interviews. Yeah. Or they can do it themselves. So really the time that the person puts it is really personal, to each person, how much they want to be involved, or they would just want to kind of give it over to me and here, put it together for me. So,
yeah. So it sounds like this is a really great gift idea, and a way to kind of capture those memories and those moments, no matter what season of life you're in.
Right. Yes, definitely.
And if someone is looking to learn more about your services, where would they be able to find you?
Right. So definitely I'm on Facebook and Instagram and my website, and there's a contact form on the website. So just if you want to contact me there or through any of Facebook or Instagram, and I do a free consultation to see what they want to do. If it's simply, save the date for the wedding, or if they want to do a more involved legacy movie, whatever that is, it's a free consultation to kind of just talk, usually on Zoom or on the phone, and we meet and see what they need and go from there.
I'm thinking too, like, I'm as a postpartum doula, one of the things that happens so quickly is that birth, right? And we get busy right away. So you could really capture a whole birth story.
Oh, yeah. And I would say this is the one thing, and that you kind of remind me of this. As far as the storage is, and I tell this is like the one regret a lot of people have is they wish they started from birth. Because if you set it up from birth, it's so much easier, and it doesn't take a lot of time than having to so when I found this system, my kids were already older. So it was getting all this stuff into it, then organizing it. And then so it took a little bit more time. Whereas if you're talking about somebody from birth or younger, even if they started when they were, preschool, it's so much easier to have this the system of telling their story. And then they can, later on, it's so much easier when they get to high school and you need photos for a slideshow or 18th birthday, or my children now, social media, they want me to put out these for their birthdays and for their thing, they want this elaborate whatever. And so now I can easily find any photo within seconds because of the organization. And instead of hours, my friends that go hours because they have to pull this photo from here and there and they don't know where it is, I can literally find a photo in minutes. You can tell me a photo. I'm like, okay, here it is. So
I love that part, because you know what? Pictures are so meaningful to me. I love all my scrapbooks. I don't do them all, and then I have all these pictures on my phone, and it sounds like now I need to go download that and get it organized in one place so it can continue to live there.
Right.
And so I don't lose that because, right, Facebook's not going to be around maybe forever. We don't know what that looks like. So,
right. I had a friend 2 or 3 weeks ago, and she was kicked off her account. She can't get back on. And she lost all her photos, and her photos were stored mostly on Facebook. And she can't have access.
Punch in the gut.
I know, it's terrible. So so be sure to don't use Facebook and phones I've had people who have phone failures and they lose photos off phones or so
Carmen, you're like the backup plan for all the pictures, those cherished moments. Like that's why we need cherished legacies in our life, because that's going to help us keep all of that in line. Oh, love it. I love being able to do these interviews, to be able to talk to, other moms in business doing these things, because you know what, these are important things for parents. And sometimes we can't think about all of them in that journey because we get busy doing all the things.
Right.
And so Carmen, I could probably talk to you all day and like brainstorm, like, oh my gosh, I've got to get all these pictures to you now. But I want to ask you, like, in the midst of all the craziness, what is your best self-care tip that you would share with other parents? Because I know that we get very busy doing all the things.
Right. So I'm personally a bath girl, and I know some people are bath people, some people aren't. But I would add to that to go without your phone, because I think some people, go take a bath without your phone, without all the distractions. And that is my best time that I get the best ideas and I get recharged and I get all those things. So if you're not a bath person, then something to get away from the phone, the kids, and I know that's, especially when they're small, very hard, but if you can just, even for, a few moments, to get away from all those things, just to relax, and whatever that is to make you relax, be sure to do that daily. I mean, I would say daily you need to do that.
That's great. I will share with you my little secret. When you said bath, I was like, ooh, I love a shower, because I get all my best thinking in the shower happening. So
exactly.
Those great things that sometimes we forget, good hygiene as parents, right? It's those things that really matter the most.
Yeah.
Well, Carmen, it has been an absolute pleasure connecting with you and getting to know you and your business. And I wanted to say thank you to everyone watching, tuning in here at the Parent Advocacy Resource Team, where we partner with parents to navigate the journey of being a family through education, advocacy, empowerment, and connection. So thank you, Carmen. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.